Okay, good day, guys. Good day to you all. Welcome back to the Formula Sports channel. Again, thanks for being here. A gentle reminder to, please give the channel a strength. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, guys. Free and easy ways to support the channel. And as always, we do appreciate the support. So, guys, you guys see the issues at hand on the screen. Michail Antonio under pressure. David Moyes questions levels of key West Ham ace Michail Antonio. Before we get into that though, quickly, some housekeeping matters. Big shout out to Jardine Fletcher. Right, we're understanding that the player has secured a move to Egypt. Simon Preston would have broken that story. So we like to see the young ballers them, make it to the professional ranks overseas. And I think this is a good move for the player. Hopefully, he goes over there and does well, right? Jardine Fletcher, a big baller, come up from schoolboy football days, right? I personally think that particular year, we all know the year when Fletcher tear up schoolboy football. I think that particular year he was the best with him and Peter Levers. I think he was the best schoolboy footballer in the island that particular year. So, it's good to see him finally get that big move overseas. I think he went overseas a while ago. I don't know what happened there, but good to see him get another shot at it and in a very credible, very respectable league. Also, I did a video a couple days ago highlighting Reggae Boyz in title winning contention, right? League title winning contention. One player I forgot to mention was Kemar Tool Malcolm. His team in the El Salvadorian League, made it to the playoffs and got to the semifinals of the playoffs, where they unfortunately lost in the two-leg playoff. They lost 2-1 over both legs. So, they did not, their title winning dream would have ended right there. So big shout out to Tula again. It's good to see our Reggae Boyz going overseas in respectable professional leagues and, in title winning contention, right? Tool would have gotten this close, right? Another thing I want to talk about quickly, right? Kemar Roofe, we all know that he's out. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, I think that's how you pronounce it, Van Bronckhorst, right? Former Feyenoord manager, new Rangers manager. He has spoken a bit on Kemar Roofe. Van Bronckhorst said Kemar Roofe has had a setback. Hopefully he will be fit before the winter break, but we are not sure yet. If not, he should definitely be back after the winter break. So at best, he will be back before the winter break. At worst, he will be back after the winter break. So I don't know if you guys have seen that update as it relates to Kemar Roofe and his injury situation. The winter break for Rangers in the Scottish Premiership starts on January the 2nd. It ends on the 21st of January. So at best, he will be back before January the 2nd. At worst, he will be back after the 21st of January 2022. So, the Reggae Boyz play on the 27th. So, I don't know how would that affect Kemar Roofe in terms of being match sharp for our Mexico game. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see, right? Because at best he would, at worst he would probably play one game. At worst he will probably play one game before that January 27th Mexico game. One game, after coming back from injury. All right, let's get into it. Michail Antonio, right? And you guys see the article on screen. This is Hammer News. I'm sure many of you would be aware of this particular platform for not so good reasons, right? And they're highlighting, something that David Moyes would have said in an interview. Now, you guys know that Michail Antonio has not been in the best goal-scoring form. And, it is starting to become an issue. It is starting to become an issue. Now, West Ham boss David Moyes spoke to reporters after our defeat to Arsenal and criticized Michail Antonio for his poor ball retention. Guys, when you hear a manager start criticize a player publicly, say, you know, you know what a clock strike. See, the 31-year-old Hamas striker has been desperately out of form since returning from international duty with Jamaica last month, and he was extremely poor once again yesterday against Arsenal. You see where Hamas news I try to link it to. I think the platform, I think it's fair to say that this platform isn't too fond of Michail Antonio coming to represent Jamaica. And you guys know of that article that they would have done some time ago, expressing their dissatisfaction where that is concerned. Right? So you see what them are trying to do. Them are trying to link his loss of form to him having to balance duties with international football and club football, right? What makes the situation worse is the fact that Moyes has nobody else to bring to cover Mickey. That one is the one Scott. That one is on the Scott, rather. He decided to spend big on Nikola Vlasic rather than sign a centre forward in the summer, and that decision is starting to look questionable at best. David Moyes, no, that's a different topic. Antonio either needs to massively raise his game or be taken out of the firing line, one of the two, right? The 31-year-old's poor form was hugely detrimental to our performances as a team in recent weeks. He doesn't seem to have the pace or the explosiveness that he once did, and the ball just isn't sticking to him, right? Now, Moyes spoke to Football.London and responded when asked what he thought about Antonio's performance at the Emirates against Arsenal. And this is where David Moyes is now being quoted. I did not think we played the ball through and forward as well as we have done in other games, but I still felt that when Michail did get it, his retention levels weren't as they should have been. I think that we need to play the ball through and into him more often, but we need to do that to all the forward players, and we did not. Right? So the article goes on to read, Antonio's levels are certainly not where they should be at the moment. There are so many things he needs to work on: his hold-up play, the timing of his runs, the pattern of his runs, and his choice of pass. Hopefully he will come good again. West Ham need Antonio to be firing on all cylinders like he was at the start of the season, and fast. Perhaps 1 or 2 games, though the best thing Moyes could do is drop Antonio down to the bench. Jared Bowen can play through the middle, and perhaps that's a change that needs to happen. I want to say this much about Antonio. I think part of the problem might be that Michail Antonio, right? Because even fans, the coach is saying that. Not all that bad, but when your coach starts saying these little things publicly, say he's really dissatisfied at that particular aspect of your game. I want to say this much about Antonio, right? Michail Antonio has never played so many games. He has never played in a season where there are so many games being played, right? We're talking about him starting to now having to deal with international duty and having to fly across the pond. Even though he has only played 3 games, it's still a very important element that has been added to the equation, where he's flying across the pond thousands of miles to come and represent Jamaica. He has never had to deal with that before, right? And we're talking about a combination of 6 trips across thousands, probably when they add up tens of thousands of miles, right? So that's the first thing. Second of all, he is the only striking option, in the senior team at West Ham. So he's playing most of the games, especially in the Premier League. And then on top of that, the team is in the Europa League as well. So he's balancing the Premier League, he's balancing Europe, and he is balancing international duty as well. Something that he has never done before. His body is not used to that, right? So if it is a case that the player is indeed jaded and they talk about the lack of explosiveness and other stuff like that, right? It's not entirely surprising. It's not entirely surprising that is the case. He's just not used to this. But I will say this much though. Michail Antonio kind of needs to figure it out, and he needs to kind of figure it out quickly, because the Wolves are circling, right? The Wolves are circling. Fans criticize. Fans are publicly advocating for Michail to be dropped to the bench. The coach is saying these little things now publicly. And so the thing about it is, the longer this drought and the criticism continues, right, is the more it will affect his confidence, and the more uncertainty will start to creep in, right? And Michail does not want that, especially at a time where he's dealing with something that he has never had to deal with before in terms of balancing, right? All of these, things that are currently at play. But I will say this much though, guys. I have not seen all of me. I've watched a number of games with Michail this season, right? And even the ones in recent times, I haven't watched all of them, but I've watched some of them. And the ones that I've watched, I don't think the player is performing that badly, right? I didn't watch the game against Arsenal, right? I didn't watch it, right? I should try and get a hold of that game on the internet and watch it, right? But I didn't watch that game. But I've seen they're making it seem like game in, game out, he's performing exceptionally poorly in recent times. And I've seen games with him in recent times. And the thing about it is that when a forward doesn't score, especially when he goes on an extended run, right, not scoring goals, it automatically the player has dropped off of form. Automatically the player is playing poorly. Even when you watch the game and you look at the run of play, even if he's not performing badly, right? Just because he's on this extended goal scoring drought, automatically the label is attached to him that, he's off form and he's performing badly because he's not scoring. And I think that is a little bit unfair, right? Has his overall performances been poor game in, game out? I don't think so. But because he's not scoring, right? It is exaggerated, so to speak, as a striker. You're not scoring, you're in a poor run of form, and you're performing poorly. And I understand it to a certain extent, but I just think you need to be fair and reasonable and put everything into context, right? So, that's, and again, when you're not scoring again, they start to look at everything. So even if you are doing these things before, when you were scoring, when you're not scoring now, it becomes exaggerated. The fans start to pick at every little thing, and they start to, oh, this, he can't do this and he can't do that, right? I think it's a little bit unfair. Pundits are criticizing him as well too. Ian Wright, that big baller, Ian Wright. Let me find that article for you guys quick and fast just to read what Mr. Wright said. He needs to hold those and let let me start from the beginning. Ian Wright picked our striker Michail Antonio as the Scottish tactician's weak link. He needs to hold those and let people come support him, right? That's one of the inexperience of being a center forward. He's very good at it, but in these instances, you think to yourself, okay, just turn now and let people come out and keep it. This is where West Ham are falling short because he's not actually helping the team at all. He is not actually helping the team at all. Right? The pundits are going in on Michail Antonio, and also the same Hammers News website, right, where you get all your West Ham news. The headline on another article reads, David Moyes faces calls to drop Michail Antonio against Arsenal in new look West Brom front line, right? So the pressure is mounting on Michail Antonio, right? The pressure is certainly mounting on Michail Antonio. I mean, the website is saying things like much of Moyes' problems boil down to the loss of form in his only striker, Michail Antonio. Again, they allude to the fact that well, I wouldn't say the fact, but they allude to what they think to be. Basically, they are saying again in this article, another article, that his form has dropped since international duty, which I resent, right? Which I resent, right? So, but Michail Antonio needs to, I don't know, probably he does need to get a rest. He is their only striker playing Europa League. He hasn't played all the games in Europa League, but he has played some of them, you know, and it's just a lot of games, and he probably isn't used to it, right? But let's see if David Moyes decides to give him a rest, and let's see if that rest will give him the jolt that he needs, and give him the return of energy, so to speak, to for him to his performances to go back to his what we know them to be, what we know they can be. So guys, that's my 2 cents. Take care, stay safe, and until next time.